Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we'll be studying a piece by the career digital illustrator known as Wires and Trees. And in this episode, we're going to be looking at this immense sense of scale, and we're also going to explore what it means to meet the fear catcher. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, we're met face to face with this ghoulish and harrowing lone figure here. Your first impression is likely one of shock as we wonder what exactly we're looking at here. So you'll notice a majority of the elements are placed in center right. That certainly elevates their visual impact. We also see a similar effect achieved primarily through a light on dark accent here. Another thing you may notice is the colors within this composition. Of course, the main colors we see is a foundation of blue and red here. Of course, that is 2/3 of a tetradic color scheme. So they're going to be contrasting each other and kind of fighting for the viewer's attention here. I think we certainly see that, especially within our subject's form. And beyond that blue and red base, we see just a diverse range of colors which make up our main subject's form. I think that's incredibly important here. And another thing you may notice here is the impact of texture. You see just so many layers to the composition. Of course, the digital illustration provides an amazing opportunity for that, right? We see this incredible style that's really native to Wires and Trees, and we see, of course, kind of a neo-expressionist, kind of a rough handling of texture, but of course, that gives us an incredible sense of energy within this composition. Of course, texture combines with that kind of visceral blood red, if you will, to invigorate the spatial composition and give us that sense of visual energy. Another thing you may notice is just how many curves are within this piece here. It's just absolutely stunning. You see curves, of course, kind of flowing off of our main subject. We see the curve kind of framing of our lone subject's face. There's just so many curves within this composition. This, of course, further gives us a sense of energy. It feels fluid in so many different ways, especially within our lone subject's form. And so the setting of this work may be hard to pin down at first. It appears to be in kind of cosmic space, far beyond in some other world, but there's no doubt it feels ethereal in so many different ways. We see that sense of the spiritual, the sense of the divine with absolute ease within this display. And so we see what appears to be this harrowing, almost serpentine-esque figure, if you will, meeting this lone feminine figure very far below. This sense of grand scale within the composition is a true testament to the monumental moment that we're viewing here. I think it's just absolutely stunning. It's almost as if, they're meeting for the first time. She looks up curiously, and of course that kind of serpentine-esque skull looks down towards the lone subject there. Kind of like a candid moment of discovery, if you will. But with this in mind, what do you think we're viewing here? Or even how do you feel when you view this piece that could indicate a lot about the work at hand? And so in creating this work, the original artist cites the fear catcher, and this is not to be confused with the dream catcher. And while creating this work, the original artist was talking about feeling in a dream, but between the normal and the nightmare. And I think we certainly see this here. It is strange, yet it is spiritual and surreal in so many different ways. It is truly unsettling, which of course is closer to the nightmare, but not quite right. I actually have some insights about the fear catcher. I'm going to bring those in real quick and see what we can learn. Alright, so I have part of the original caption that was provided with this work here, and so I'm going to read that real quick, and it gives us a incredible and priceless insight into the piece before us here. So here we go. Somewhere in the realm of sleep lives the fear catcher, not to be confused with the dream catcher. When coming across this being, most humans assume they have entered a nightmare. The fear catcher, however, is only there to consume your fear. They look for the souls who venture too deep into the dream world in search of peace. They are attracted to humans who have let their physical pain manifest through their night bodies. Do not be scared if you ever come across the fear catcher. Instead, thank them and tell them your name so that they will never forget you. So there is this sense of the fear catcher kind of taking on our sense of fear, and we kind of have this almost like a flow or a disintegration of our lone subject here. You can see the fluid form within that, no doubt, but of course we see this lone subject standing upon these kind of impossible red platforms staring up at this lone subject. So whenever she first sees this, of course she may assume that she has entered a nightmare, but like the caption says, it is only there to consume your fear. So tell them your name and thank them, and of course move on so they will never forget you. I think that's incredibly profound here. There is this sense of it's kind of taking on our fear, right? It is consuming our fear, and it is not, of course it may cause fear in some, but is meant to really take that on and hold it within themselves. I think that's incredibly profound within this piece here. So yeah, whenever I first saw this work, I saw this as kind of a deal with the devil, if you will, or meeting the devil. But in, looking at that original caption, that's not entirely accurate. But here, even within that, with just my interpretation, there's no shortage of, spirits and things that are willing to tempt you. So always travel the world with an open eye and always pay attention, especially to your dreams that you have. There is a profound amount of symbolism within the dreamscape. And if you look at that with an open eye, you may find some priceless insights about your day-to-day life. So I think that's incredibly important here. And so, I was talking about that kind of style of the original artist, Wires and Trees. I actually have one of my favorite works here. I'm going to bring this in and compare it to the original work here, see if we can gain some insights about the original artist style. Alright, so I brought in another piece here. This is the Ending Blade, also by Wires and Trees. Really the first piece that kind of put me onto this artist and had that artist on my radar. It was an absolute pleasure to study. Of course, in both of these instances, we see this almost a setting of space, if you will. There is a sense of the fantasy, but also the surreal. There is no doubt about that. And in both instances, you see an incredible amount of diverse color. Of course, a main set of red and blue in both instances, but regardless of that, you see just so many different colors and so many different tones here. Another thing you may notice is the sheer amount of texture in both these works as well. From the wings compared to our lone subject's form, there is just so much detail within these compositions. Of course, the digital illustration offers an incredible opportunity for that. Wires and Trees takes that opportunity to the next level, and it's just spiritual, it is surreal in so many different ways, and it's always a pleasure to study their work. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. Like I said, this was a digital illustration, so just painstakingly painted and kind of illustrated upon a screen there. You see so much detail, you see so many layers within the composition. It's just stunning in every sense of the word. And so, I was talking about this work, you see this kind of harsh texture, right? This harsh use of material. And due to that, people would talk about the fantasy genre in the style of neo-expressionism. So I think that's a pretty nice insight here. You see, of course, a mix of the realist and a mix of the surrealist within this work. But like I said, it's just stunning in every sense of the word. Really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, for the impact of different colors, the impact of texture, this, visual energy to the composition, all the way to the dreamscape and meeting the fear catcher within your dream. So, like I said, really hope y'all enjoyed today. If y'all enjoyed today's episode, go check out the original artist Wires and Trees, doing some amazing stuff in the world of digital illustration. Even recently got showcased in New York City, and it was just absolutely stunning. It was amazing to see the Ending Blade up in Times Square. So yeah, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. And like I said, if y'all enjoyed today's episode, go check out the original artist. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.